The trick to running really effective meetings, where not only are you in control, but you focus the entire room and they walk away going, wow, that was great. It was concise. I feel in control. I'm really excited to do the tasks I need to do. That guy runs a good meeting. I'm going to tell you right now, it is all structure, and you can start doing it today without improving a single thing about your communication skills. All you have to do is follow this structure. This 4-point structure is my structure. It's been tried and tested, and it's all about the psychology of how people absorb information and how to keep them engaged. It's frame, explain, delegate, and assess. So when I'm talking about framing, what I'm talking about is getting everyone focused on a common goal. It's really, really important. If in a meeting you see people going off on tangents, if you see them zoning out and not really paying attention, coming back, if they don't know the answers to your questions because they were zoning out, you haven't framed properly. This is the essential first step in any communication, including with your friends. Why are we meeting? So, the very first thing that you want to start any meeting with is the goal of today's meeting is X, Y, and Z. If we were doing a website development catch-up meeting, it would be, hi guys, the goal of today's meeting is I want to update you to show you where we are on the timeline for production. 2, there are some very important things I need from you, and I need them this week. And 3, I want to check from you if everything we're doing is aligned with what your expectations are right now. If we can do that, we're going to have a really good meeting at the end of it. And just to be clear, because this gets caught up all the time, maybe it's just a general catch-up. So you want to lead with, I am speaking to you, I am calling you to X. So this could be give you an update on each of my projects so you feel in control. Now this actually happened just a few minutes ago before making this video. One of the staff called me and he said, I just want to give you an update on my projects. But he didn't tell me why. And so this is natural human behavior. In my head was, oh, he wants me to solve something for him. And it wasn't at all. He just wanted to tell me that he was across each of the projects and give me a quick rundown. But I kept jumping in, trying to be like, oh, okay, well, that's okay. Oh, well, I can solve. Wasn't what he was asking at all. The problem was, from his communication standpoint, he hadn't framed that he was giving me this update just so I felt in control. So then, explain. We go through our X, our Y, and our Z with clear signposting. So I said, we're going to look at the timeline. So here is the timeline. This is where we're at, and this is where we're going to. And ideally, you would start this with the first sentence being, so talking about the timeline, we are on track. This, and I'll show you this now. Because that first line sets up the frame for the rest of it. What happens if we're behind on the timeline? That's okay. Start with that. So, let's talk about the timeline. We are behind at the moment, and I'm now going to show you why. I'm going to show you what we can do about fixing it, and we're going to talk about who can do whatever tasks. For example, we're going to delegate. This is exactly what it sounds like, but you want very, very clear agreements on who's going to do what, whether this is the business world or the social world. So, all right, and I would be writing this down on paper, have a sheet out in front of you which your client can see while you're doing it, giving those delegation points. So, Josh, to complete a checklist by Monday, 3 p.m. Chris, to email client about chicken by 4 p.m. by Tuesday, 5 p.m. And be very, very clear in these meetings, anything that's not on this list will not be done. So everyone on the call has a responsibility to agree to what is going to be done. And it needs to be tangible. It needs to be very, very clear. There should be no vagaries like research quantum physics. Well, what on earth does that mean? Set some specific measurable goals to it. Spend an hour understanding the basics of quantum physics. Okay, that is a much better goal than just research quantum physics. Finally, assess. Anytime you've got agreement, you also need to have a follow-up meeting. So, when are we meeting next? Lock it in the diary. If we have tasks, now it might not be a physical meeting in person. That's no problem. When will we follow up on this? And you could set email dates. Whatever it is, you must have an accountability in place for every party that's on the call. If you do this, and if you follow this framework, you're going to see your meetings become infinitely more effective, the people on the meeting be much, much, much more engaged, and everyone be happier with you as the leader of this process. I can guarantee you that this process works and will work for you. So let's recap it really quickly. Frame. Start the meeting with, why are we meeting? This is going to focus everyone's attention. Explain, what are we discussing? And one by one, go through that list. Make it very clear. I also recommend having this on the screen, just as a sticky note so everyone knows where you're at and knows it won't take too much longer. Delegate. Who's going to do what? Written down so everyone can see it, and then email it to them or text it to them at the end of the meeting. And finally, assess. Agree on how everyone is going to get together, whether that's a meeting or whether it's emails, and how that's going to be done. To finish on this too, I strongly recommend a maximum number of revisions. And this is more of a client management perspective, but people are threatened by change. We'll always fiddle with things back and forth and so on. That's great, but it is highly ineffective. And it's a huge waste of time. Generally speaking, trying to get that last 5 or 10% of perfection does not justify the 50% of time you spend on it. It is better to fail quickly than to learn extraordinarily slowly. So whilst I never recommend finishing something and say, it's good enough when it's clearly deficient, there is a line in the sand of good enough versus perfection. And I strongly recommend you look at that. All right, guys, that is the system. Please try it. Message me. Tell me how it went for you. I'm looking forward to your feedback. This is a system I've employed for a very long time. I look forward to hearing your comments. Have a great day.